Hey everybody, Jim Cummings here. Welcome to my podcast, Toon'd In with Jim Cummings. We have a great guest for you today. But before we get to that, make sure you like and subscribe. Our podcast has partnered with the largest Comic-Con in North America, Fan Expo, the Juggernaut. We're touring all over North America live, so get your tickets and come be a part of the live audience. It'll be fun. Go to fanexpohq.com for the tickets. We'll see you in a city near you, or a little bit away, but you can drive. And with all that said and done, sit back and enjoy today's episode. And as always, thanks for tuning in to Toon'd In with Jim Cummings.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Toon'd In with Jim Cummings. I am producer Chris, joined as always by the legend himself, Mr. Jim Cummings. How are you doing today, sir?
Hello to everyone, and to you, producer Chris. And it's another day in paradise. Ain't it the truth? And stay tuned. Don't touch that dial.
It sure is. We have a very special guest for you today, but before I get to that, as always, I have some announcements to make. If you didn't know, well, now you know. We are doing this podcast live with Fan Expo, in partnership with Fan Expo this year. It's been a great time. I've really enjoyed it myself, yes. Talking in front of the audience with a guest. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, well, it's great because they're more comfortable because they have an audience. And we're more comfortable because they have an audience. And we have an audience. Yeah, we're pretty darn entertaining, too.
And so, if you come to the show live, then you get to see it way before everybody else, you know? Yeah. You get to see it right there in person with all the mistakes we edited out. So if you want to come see us, the next place we are going to be is in Fan Expo Toronto, aka Fan Expo Canada, August 27th to the 30th. We were going to be in Chicago, Fan Expo Chicago, but Jim will be at D23 instead that weekend. So be sure to check that out. If you're in the Anaheim area, head on over to D23. Back to Fan Expo. The next show after Toronto is in Dallas, September 11th to the 13th. Finally, for this year, San Francisco Fan Expo, November 27th to the 29th. There are some dates next year that you can catch, but if you're in the area for any of those shows, come by and check it out. It's pretty cool. And if you like this content, be sure to like and subscribe. YouTube's a weird website. You can literally watch something and it'll never be recommended to you again. It helps us out. It helps you out. So don't let that happen to you. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you like it so much that you want to see more good news, we're also on Patreon. Toon'd In with Jim Cummings on Patreon. You can find bonus content that you can't find anywhere else. All that good stuff. We're doing contests, giveaways. We have some new stuff in store for you over there. So check it out. With all that said and done, today we have a very special guest. Very talented person. I mean, looking through your resume was quite impressive, and I'm hoping to learn a lot about you and the career field that you're in today, because the terms get thrown around a lot. You know, Oscar-nominated sound editor and sound designer. I mean, you hear that every day. So I'm looking forward to talking to Mr. David Acord. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Good to meet you guys.
Fantastic.
Oh, Jim, we've met before. Yeah.
And I'm just curious, where are you? In a recording studio somewhere in some obscure location? Or shall we even talk about that?
You're not far off. I am this is my office in Nicasio, California. Nicasio is a small town up in the hills of Marin County, which houses Skywalker Ranch. And this is the sound building called the Tech Building at Skywalker Ranch. And this is my mixing suite, my mixing pod.
Wow, you're in the inner sanctum. That's where the magic happens. Look at that.
Wow, that's cool.
There you go.
Toys. I've got toys.
Yes, you do. And you play very well with them. That's amazing. I'm always curious, were you fascinated? I mean, you'd be watching an incredible movie and a gunshot would go off. And I used to think, and you know, the thing that used to get me in the old cowboy thing is when a guy would hit another guy and it went, psh, and I've heard a lot of people get smacked around in real life, and you never get a psh, like Cheyenne and Sugarfoot and Bronco, all those TV shows. So,
it sounds like a pool billiard ball hitting another ball. It's like that kind of a crack. Yes. That sound, which I think might have been. I mean, Ben Burt, who maybe you have heard of, he's like the godfather of this place. One of the OG sound designers, or did the original Star Wars and Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, all that. So he's Ben is like, revered around here. And when I first started at Skywalker, I was Ben's apprentice. This is 25 years ago. And I picked up a few little tidbits from Ben along the way. He's an open book. He'll tell you whatever you want to know about how he made things. He loves to talk about sound. And the famous, they call it the Indy Punch, when Indiana Jones punches a guy in like Raiders or any of those movies. It's a signature punch sound that he uses for that. And part of that is, I think it's what's the term? Black powder explosion. There's it's actually a small explosion.
Wow.
That uses to help sweeten the punch sound to give it that extra crack.
I'm going to have to check that. Now we're all going to end up rewinding and doing, whatever it is you need to do. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's the sound design thing, is like you want to create a thing, but you create a sound for a thing, not using the actual thing, if that makes any sense. Like making a fire crackle, you might use some tinfoil that you're kind of crinkling up or whatever. That's kind of a classic example, but that's sort of the sound design in a nutshell, is using one thing for another. It's a sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors kind of thing.
That's for sure. One thing I remember when the first Star Wars came out, there was a little, 15, 20-minute reel that came out and said, the making of this is how we made the sounds of Star. And the one thing that really got to me was the blasters. They had to act like there was a kick to them. But and you can verify this too, or maybe you've done this, maybe you invented this, but they got a little hammer, went out to the farthest out, highway they could find, and the old telephone poles were being held up by very, very strong cables, metal cables, and they'd whack that cable and it would go pew, pew, pew. And all of a sudden, you're ducking because you're thinking you're about to get your head shut off. Incredible.
Yeah, that's a classic. I remember seeing that video. It was Ben out there, tapping the guy wires for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think me and probably every other sound design professional has tried to replicate that in some form, because it's just for no other reason. You just want to do it because it's just fun. And
of course.
I've done similar things with water towers, with those giant water tanks. You can kind of get a similar sound by tapping those. It's just that sort of, laser, like what we think of as a laser sound, but that sound wasn't a laser sound before Ben made it a laser sound. But now it's just canon for what a laser is.
Yeah, no doubt. And do lasers make a sound? Do you know? Because I keep forgetting reload mine.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody's. It's like the thing with no sound in space. I know that there's no sound or limited sound in space, but we still put sound in space because otherwise it's not very exciting.
No, yeah, that's very true.
And some people have gone that route of not, like Gravity. The movie Gravity very famously did no sound, and it's a great movie and it sounded wonderful. But it'd be the same with lasers. If you had a laser gun that's just sort of like all you hear is the sound of the trigger, it would be the weirdest gunfight ever.
It takes away from the impact, actually, sort of, whatever. Yes. Oh my God.
So you've worked on a number of Star Wars projects, The Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian. I'm curious, do you have to recreate sounds for those movies, like how we're talking about the lasers? Do you have to recreate those, or do you have an asset library that you can pull from, or a combination of both?
It's both, and a lot of that depends on the what the director wants. Sometimes the director or showrunner, if it's a show, I want the classic sound, and that's what they want, the old classic sound. And then some are like, you know what, we love the TIE Fighter, we want this ship to sound like nothing we've ever heard before. But even when you use the classic sounds with a modern show, like for Andor, we did this Star Wars show called Andor, for a couple seasons of that.
Yes.
Wonderful show. And there's New Hope era stormtroopers in that show, and we wanted to use that sound from 77, but we wanted to kind of because of the tone of the show and because it has this sort of gritty, grounded feel, we wanted to give those guns a little extra modernized beef to them, a little kick, a little power to them. Because the old sounds from 77 are great, but they don't have like that sort of concussive sound that you'd expect from a very dangerous weapon. And so we wanted to sort of like heighten that by combining that with some more modern weaponry to give it like it gives you a little bit more of a visceral feel when those guns are fired. It really
Put a
makes
little
you
more
feel
gland in it.
Yeah, it feels dangerous, when you hear those things firing.
Right.
Yeah.
So how different is it from the original sound? Like if you were to put the sounds side by side, which we're going to do, by the way, we're going to put the sounds side by side. What's like is it a noticeable difference, or is it only noticeable to, say, a professional like you who works with sound for a living?
I think it's noticeable. I think it's more you can feel. You can sense the legacy sound in the sound more than it's legacy forward with a little low end attached to it.
I was going to say, you have a little more bottom, right?
Yeah. It's got the bottom. It's got more punch to it. It's got like a more of a rifle type report to the gun after it fires. It's got all those sort of elements to them. And there's different guns we've kind of played with differently. The Stormtrooper blasters are one thing, and then there's Cassian's gun is another thing. It depends on the show too. Like in Mandalorian, his weaponry is I think his rifle, he uses that big rifle he's got. There's an energy element to that too, energy, like the laser element to that. But I recorded a 50 caliber sniper rifle, like those big, Barrett 50 caliber ones, to kind of go with that, to kind of give it that. And that is a very loud gun, to kind of like give it that extra powerful punch. It's just,
that'll do it, huh?
That'll do it. It's something, I think just the modern audience is more familiar with what guns sound like. And so you kind of, it gives you a little bit of a license to kind of like build on that a little bit with the weapons in the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Foley work is so fascinating to me. Just the ideas and the creativity. Like I'm thinking of Mortal Kombat. They're like smashing watermelons to simulate skulls. And I saw this clip on social media about the Foley artists working on Dune, and they had this they invented like this little contraption that he would wave around in the air, and it had all these little propellers to give it such a specific sound it was like a rotating propeller, but also flapping propeller. So it was like, picture like a dragonfly that's like being spun around essentially. And I just thought that was so creative. Do you have something that, that really sticks out in your mind that you use to achieve a certain sound?
Right. And what you're describing is actually, that's just a sound design thing and not a Foley thing.
Oh, really?
So just
now, is that done with a bull roarer? Are you? I'm sure you're familiar with those.
Oh yeah. Those are great. That's a great sound.
Yeah,
they might have. Yeah, I've seen that used before. I've never used one of those.
Yeah. I seem to remember somewhere in my memory that somebody said, "Well, you use this thing from down under," and I think it was from Australia. And
I think it is.
Comes up with an interesting thing. I'm sure you've used them.
I've not. But now I'm feeling like left out. I've got some FOMO about the bull roarer, and now I need to go get one and work that into whatever I'm doing next here.
There you go. Okay.
But so Foley, just to kind of distinguish what Foley is from sound effects or sound design. So Foley is sounds that you record after the fact. You could think of Foley as sort of like ADR for sound effects. So
there you go. Yeah.
And it's like if an actor on screen picks this water bottle up, and then they unscrew it, and then they drink it, and then they put it down. All those are Foley movements because they're tied to what the actor is doing. You're re-recording things that maybe the on-set mic didn't quite get or didn't get right, or maybe you just want to do it better. Footsteps are part of that. Clothing rustle, all that sort of stuff is what Foley does. And they'll do some creative things too. I'm not saying that they just do some of the more diegetic things, but that's the meat and potatoes of what Foley is. what you're describing with the Dune thing, with the propellers and all that, is a sound design thing. He's creating the sound of those whirligig ships that they use, and that's or the bull roarer or tapping a guy wire or any of those things are sound design tools or adventures that you would go on.
Oh, interesting.
That's good to know.
I never knew that. I really thought I had it nailed down. I knew I was going to learn something on this podcast.
Yeah.
So pretty much the main. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, you mentioned, like, I think somebody mentioned fruit manipulating. If you want to chopping, breaking vegetables or melons and all that stuff for gore and that's also that's sort of a gray area that can be either Foley or sound design. There's some crossover. And
so what I'm hearing is the basic difference is if it has to do with the character or the actor versus the environment or the set.
Generally speaking, yes. Yeah. Generally speaking, that's Foley is kind of helping recreate the environment personal to the actor.
Okay, so let me expand on this then in relation to Jim. How do you work with who is the person that like manipulates or mixes? I guess I don't really even know what mixing entails, but the actors' voices.
Okay, so when Jim's going to record ADR, he's going to go into a session. There's a guy or woman in a booth across the glass, has a mixing console, and that is the ADR recordist. If you're at Disney, it's Doc. Doc is the recordist at Disney. That's right. Their job is to make sure that Jim he's not peaking, he's not too sibilant. Is he off mic? Is he on mic? Are we getting some weird sound in the room? Get as pristine and clean a recording as we can, and that's what that ADR recordist does. That recording then goes on to the dialogue editor or the ADR editor, who will place it, lip sync, match it up, whatever they got to do. I'm really generalizing here, and then we get to the mix stage where the dialogue mixer is going to pre-mix or final mix the dialogue, and a big part of that is maybe some panning, a little reverb on it, do a little EQ if whatever it feels like it needs in that moment, and balancing that against sound effects and Foley and music and whatever else is going on in that space. And that's mixing in general, is deciding like where are we telling the story right here? Is the dialogue telling the story? Is the music telling the story? Are the sound effects telling the story in this moment? And that's what we want to focus on. And that's the mixer's job, is to sort of sort through all of those sounds that are happening at any given moment and help help guide the audience and tell the story of what's happening in that moment. So rather than just being like a cacophony of everything happening at once, maybe we don't need to hear the music so much right here with the sound effect. We really want to hear the dialogue, or maybe the dialogue's less important and the music's really telling the story, or whatever's happening. That's the mixer. And the mixer's guided by the client, guided by the director and the picture editor too. It's a collaborative thing in the moment.
Well, it's a mood thing. It's a mood heightener. You can ruin or make a scene with the sound design or the score. It's people don't realize that. Like Psycho, you know exactly what's happening. You know, it's visceral, isn't it? It just pulls it out of you. You know what's going on.
Yeah, Jaws. I mean, it's a monster movie where the monster doesn't have a voice. So riddle me that. I mean, how do you solve that? Well, you get John Williams to make one of the greatest scores ever made.
Yes,
The score is the voice of the shark, which is just genius. I love that movie so much.
Wow. Yeah.
They say that's like a big challenge for like indie movies or beginning filmmakers. You know, the sound is so often overlooked. And that really gives people the sense of professionalism, when sound is done well. But it tends, at least, like in my experience and what I've seen and watched, it tends to be like something that's almost like an afterthought a lot of the time. Why do you think that is?
I don't really know. It's a thing that's kind of puzzled us sound professionals for a while. I can tell you this. I think it's largely because the sound mix, the final mix that we call it, it's the last thing you do for a movie before it's released is the sound mix. It's the end of the road. So you've written your script, you've prepped, you've done your pre-production, you shot the movie, and you've cut it together in picture, and then the very last thing you're doing is the sound. So I think it always feels like maybe that's why it's the caboose on the train. I mean, maybe that's why it's not really getting the attention that maybe some of the other. Plus, also sound in general. Like if you think about visual effects, it's a very tangible thing to anybody. You can see, like, that's a dinosaur. I can see that. That looks like a dinosaur. You made a dinosaur. For sound, what does a dinosaur sound like? Nobody knows. I don't know. Yeah. So you're kind of in a vacuum to kind of create pretty much anything. That dinosaur could sound like a rooster for all we know. Yeah. And you can
no
make
one
it
will
sound
correct
like
you either.
And nobody will correct you. So it sound can be very esoteric in that way, and I think that is a bit perplexing to some people.
Yeah.
Well, I heard. I don't know if this doesn't sound right, but it sounds right in certain situations, certain movies. Is that you shouldn't notice the score. The score should be woven so deeply within the fabric of the story that it just sort of gives the sound of the feeling of the story, and I know what they mean, but that seems like that's a tall order, I would think.
I agree with you. And I think that you could probably expand that sentiment to just the soundtrack in general, just the music, sound effects, dialogue, all of it. If you start noticing, like, I'm really noticing the sound in this. I mean, there's a chance that it's because it's bad, that you're being distracted, and now I'm really noticing that music there, or like, oh, has that music been playing this whole time? That kind of thing, or like I'm really there's that one sound effect in that's that spaceship that goes by. Okay, if you start like picking a movie apart for it sound like that, then either you're just bored with the movie and you're just looking for something to do, or it's maybe it's not the best soundtrack and you're kind of taking notice, which is not great either.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What I want to know, what I was very curious to ask you about, is why does it feel like these days I'm watching Netflix, I'm sitting here watching Netflix or Hulu, they're all the same, anything these days it feels like, and I want to watch it with subtitles on because it's very, very quiet when they're talking, and then an action scene comes and it's just overbearing.
Like Armageddon.
Is that just poor mixing, poor editing, or is that like a trend? Where's that coming from?
It can be all of the above. It's really, I mean, it can be a mixing thing, but it's usually not, because those movies tend to play well in theaters, and then when they get to streaming, it can be compression that's happening from the streaming service. There might be something happening there.
There's a lot of whispering. It's all a lot of this, Everybody's a junior Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, that's not helpful. That's not helpful at all.
Yeah.
I think also you've got, a billion different home theater setups, and you're mixing for a particular home theater setup. If I'm in my room and I'm making what we call a near field mix, a home theater mix, I'm mixing for this room because that's all I have is this room. And I'll use like some stereo speakers that, are kind of like consumer level, just for like reference. And I'll mix, sounds good to me. But when it gets to, somebody's home theater in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I can't mix for that home theater. I don't know what their setup is, or if it's set up correctly, or if they've got a blown speaker, or what's going on. So you've got millions of different combinations of home theaters you can't account for. I think that's a large part of it. Is it's going to sound good in some people's home theaters and not on others, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast of the streaming platform.
Yeah, unless you get it THX certified, right?
Yeah.
They've got those out there. I had one of those.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty darn
still have
cool. No, I moved.
Oh.
and in conjunction with the theater seats that reclined, and they had butt blasters in them, which I thought was really cool. You know, like when Godzilla walked across the room, your butt went. So cheered for butt blasters.
That's what we call in the industry. We call that the brown note.
See, yes, they do. Okay. Good night, everybody. That's what they call it. Oh God. Christopher, I cut you off. You were going to say something intelligent, and I said my stupid stuff.
No. I was actually farthest thing from intelligent. I was going to ask something stupid, but it's something I want to ask. How many times have you used the Wilhelm scream?
Oh
wow. That's so the history of the Wilhelm. That's a Ben Burt thing where it's an old sound effect of a man screaming. I can't remember the name of the movie it's pulled from. It's escaping me right now. Yeah. It was a thing that he saw. He'd heard it a couple times in some old movies and kind of like was fascinated with it, tracked down the original recording, and Ben started putting it in his movies. And then other people, myself included, kind of got wind of what he was doing, and they started putting it in other things. It ends up in almost every Star Wars movie. But now you see it like every Toyota commercial or whatever. Like it's in everything. And so probably the last 10 years or so, like we've kind of put a bit of a moratorium on it.
Oh, really?
We don't use it anymore for Star Wars because it's just like, unless the client really wants it, then okay, sure, we'll do that.
Would you perform that for us, David, just to for everyone to so that they can absorb where we are with this? Oh my!
It's the weirdest. You know what? I bet I can do you one better.
Oh, okay.
I can't do it.
Let's see. Let me see. I'll let me dial up a session here.
Here we go.
And then
and it's so ubiquitous, it's just going to be in there, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, let's put on this Toyota commercial. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's just,
Oh, 100%.
It is everywhere. Okay. Let's see. Let me dial. We have today. Our library here, which has literally a million sounds in it.
Wow.
And
wow.
It's just so many.
My brain hurts.
Hopefully it has some good labeling then.
Yeah, no kidding. That was an easy task.
Let's see. Did I do it? Did you hear that?
I heard something very faint.
Let me do it again. Let me take this earpiece off and use them.
That's it. That was it right there.
And you can hear the room in there.
There it is.
Can't you? Don't you think you can hear the room?
That is funny. Yeah,
the Wilhelm scream.
There's a couple other of those sound effects too that you hear repeated time and time again. But I wanted to ask you, can you tell us the story of how you came to voice Grogu?
So I do sound design, Star Wars stuff. My first Star Wars thing I worked on here was Attack of the Clones, episode 2, Attack of the Clones, working Matt Wood. And in 2007, I think it was, we started working on Clone Wars, which is a Star Wars animated series Dave Filoni helmed. And that was my first sound design thing for Star Wars. Like we're sort of on my own, shoved out of the nest, doing some sound design. And a part of doing sound design is, that's all to say that I do a lot of sound. That was my first Star Wars sound design thing. A lot of Star Wars sound design, or any sound design, is creature vocals. There's a lot of creature vocals in Star Wars, a lot of sci-fi and fantasy stuff. And
that's for sure.
You can use, you can source actual animals and manipulate them by down or reversing them or mashing them up with other animals. There's other things you can do, screeching metal pitched a certain way. I think Godzilla is a upright with a cello with a bow on it.
Wow.
Pulled probably pitched a certain way. Like that's the classic, Toho old Godzilla sound. There's all manner of ways you can make a creature vocal. One of the easiest things to use as a tool for that is voice, because you can do a lot of things with your voice. Just ask D. Bradley Baker. I mean, you can do a number of things. You can, once you even just sort of perform something, and then pitching it and stretching it and doing all kinds of create all combining that human voice with other things, with animals or with other objects or whatever, then you can really get into it and make some really funky stuff. Yeah. So, like I was saying, you can use the human voice as a pretty good tool for making creature vocals, especially if the creature is humanoid in some way. Or if you need like an alien language or whatever, there's no better thing than just use your own voice. If you have any kind of skill in that world. For Grogu, we were going back and forth about it early on, and season 1 of Mando, Jon Favreau's initial direction for creating the sound for him was that he was like a feral child, so kind of animalistic. And so I recorded some animals. I went to a rescue in San Diego and recorded this kinkajou, which is sort of kind of like a weird monkey.
Isn't that
monkey
an Australian?
Squirrel. I don't know where they're from. Maybe South America. I don't know.
Maybe.
Bat-eared fox. And I recorded a bunch of things just to try and get like some ideas. And I made this sort of like animalistic sound for him. And we, you cut it against a scene. John takes a look at it. Like, no, it's too feral. We like him to have some baby sounds. So they were using some actual baby recordings. I think it was one of the picture editors' babies. They had a new baby, and they were kind of passed those on to me. And then I was, mixing those in with
Gonna
the
make
animal
the kid
sounds.
a star.
And it wasn't quite working still. So I took it like, okay, what we need is something to kind of cross those things. We need a third element. So I was using my own voice for the cross between the bat-eared fox sounds and the baby sounds. We need something in there when Grogu is trying to form a word, or he's like baby talking, or even if he does like a little shriek or a little scream. Needs something that's more of a performance and less of a recording, a sound effect recording. So I was doing my own voice for that, and of course, I have to pitch it up a couple of octaves because my voice is deeper. And roll off the low end and that kind of thing. But it worked. We made a couple of scenes with that. John loved it. I think Bryce Dallas Howard is involved, and she liked it too. And that ended up being Grogu's voice, and that was the template moving forward. All the way to the movie we just did. It was the same formula for Grogu.
Wow. A Star is Born.
And that's part vocal
that's a really cool
part
story.
Sound design. Yeah,
That's an amazing story.
Fun.
What do you think the most altered your voice has ever been, Jim? I have one in mind that I can think of, but I'm curious what you think.
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I don't know that they've altered it a lot about anything, about many things anyway. I know that I remember when the great John Fiedler passed away and they had to recast Piglet. Travis Oates was there, and he was just right. I mean, he was just right on the cusp of it. And we did this is my one engineering trick that I did. I said, can you record that and speed it up 3%? And the engineer looked at me like, well, this happens to be my job, but okay, I'll humor you. And he did it, and Piglet jumped out. And Rick Dempsey was there from Disney Character Voice, and he goes, that's perfect. Good job, whack. And so that was my one contribution to being on that side of the glass.
That's fantastic.
The voice I had in my mind was your voice in, I feel like this counts, but your voice as the master in Fallout. Because it was like a combination of two performances. And then I think they kind of like digitized your voice a little bit to kind of give it that like create.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Yes, I agree. Yeah. And then I have a little trick that I do when I have to sound like a slow motion voice. Well, what have we here? That's a little thing you could do.
I love that.
Yeah, and all I'm doing is sticking the tip of my tongue on the back of my teeth, on the roof of my tongue, and then speaking slowly because it's hard to articulate. And it's hard to say stuff, too. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Have you ever heard sometimes they'll glue an actor's upper lip to their gums? They'll glue their upper lip to their gums to give them a lisp. To give them a lisp. It gives you like a lisp. If you're
I say of things, but I would have, let's get over there. I should think, let's go and have a cup of tea together, shall we? You know, there was Terry Thomas was the old comedic actor from England, and he used to go, before he would do it, he would dry off his gums, stick his lip up there, and away we go. Yes, let's do it, shall we? And it's just goofy, you know. That's David liked it, so that's good. He'll be doing that soon. But
did he have like a gap in his front teeth? Was that the same
yes,
actor?
that was he.
I remember. Yeah. Okay, I know who he is. Okay.
Yeah. And I had to do Darth Vader a couple of times, which is terrible because I couldn't. But it was, yeah, exactly. Who? But and it was for some local Ford commercial back in 1984 or something, you know. And I got well, I don't have one here, but I had a coffee can empty. And the Force is strong in this one. You know, and I did it into a coffee can and stuck the coffee can over here. And right before it started to feed back, I would do the line. And that was it.
That's wonderful. And a coffee cans, that's about right. I think it's like an 8 millisecond delay is the voice process for Vader.
Oh, wow.
So that'd be about right. Yeah.
I did not know that. I'll alert Maxwell House right away.
Special dark roast. Their Vader roast.
Yeah, there's a preference there. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Were you just always fascinated by the sounds, by the lion roars, by the this, the that? I mean,
all of it. Like I think, when I was a kid, I think what I really wanted to be when I was a kid was a stop motion animator.
Oh,
I was fascinated with like Ray Harryhausen. That was who I really wanted to be when I was little.
Who's that?
Yeah, Ray Harryhausen. He was like a stop motion animator. He did movies like Golden Voyage of Sinbad and Clash of the Titans and
Jason and the Argonauts,
which is awesome. I love that movie.
Yeah, me too.
But total pioneer in visual effects, basically, is what Harryhausen is. And sort of like Phil Tippett was like a disciple of his, and if you know Phil Tippett is, he's sort of the next level of that stop motion animator. He sort of bridged stop motion into visual effects. But yeah, I early on in film career, I thought I was going to be a picture editor. I knew I wanted to work in a dark room by myself. I think that's just that's my happy place.
There you go.
Yeah, but I kind of got the sound bug, and I was just like, oh, I think I like this, and I think I'm okay at it, and so maybe I can make a career out of this, and here we go.
Wow, what was your first gig when you said, you know what? Okay, I'm in. I'm going to do this. I'm there. I'm probably going to work next year too. That type of thing.
Well, when I first started, I was in production. So my very first gig was a movie called 12 Monkeys back in the mid-90s.
Yes. Brad Pitt and
Bruce Willis.
Yep. Right?
Terry Gilliam.
That was a hell of a movie. Wow.
I was a special effects, on-set special effects technician. There was a lot of with a little fogger and a wafter and one around stage fogging. That was me. And I met the production sound guys on that show, Jay and Randy. And Jay Mahar, if you're out there, Jay, I love you. I miss you. Thank you for everything. Jay was a sound mixer and ended up hiring me for several years after that. And I was a boom operator and his assistant and that kind of thing. And after 7 years of production, I worked my way into post at Skywalker after not knocking on their door for a couple years. Matt Wood finally let me in. And that first job was Attack of the Clones. And I think I was blown away at, it was like, I didn't know anything about post. All I knew was I wanted to do it, and I wanted to sort of learn everything. And Matt took a chance on me, this enthusiastic guy who's doing a career change at 30, basically, and it's that's kind of been my path ever since.
Yeah, and it worked out. Congratulations!
It worked out okay. Yeah,
yes,
thanks.
it did.
Yeah, that was 25 years ago. Yeah. So 32 years in film business, 25 at Skywalker.
And that led you all the way up to an Oscar nomination. How did that feel?
That was crazy. Yeah. So that was for Force Awakens. We had for sound editing, when there was a separate sound editing award at the time. Matthew Wood and I co-supervised Force Awakens and got a nomination for that. And that was just mind-blowing, especially because there hadn't been a Star Wars movie in forever. And I love that movie. I thought it was really cool, and proud of it too. Proud of the way it sounds, and so it was fun. We got a BAFTA nomination, we got an Oscar nomination, and lost both, but I didn't care. I was having a blast. We just it was like it was just like it was surreal just to kind of be on that stage and just be around all these. So much talent, and it was just fun. It was just a lot of fun. Then we got another nomination together, Matt and I, for Rise of Skywalker in 2019, 2020. It's fun. It's as somebody told me, it's like you just got to just savor every second of those moments, because you don't know, it'll probably never happen again, and you just got to sort of cling to that and live in the moment, and did we had a great time.
Yeah, that's one of the tenets I live by. Savor them. Don't. Tomorrow I'll be here. Don't worry about it. Just be here now, and
tomorrow's gonna come.
Yeah, and it's so true, because I remember different things in my life when I'm sitting there and I'm getting ready to sing something or do something, and I just have to pinch myself, and I jokingly say it's stuff used to get me kicked out of class, but if you do it well enough, somebody will pay you. And if you do it really well enough, they will threaten to give you an award, which I've never won, but it's the thought that counts. Okay, it would be the reward would be in the award too, just in case anybody's listening to this. But yeah,
it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to get an award once in a while.
No, it does not.
And sounds really stick with you. Like we were just talking about The Force Awakens. I was just thinking to myself, I remember distinctly like the sound. I forget what it was like. Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren, and I don't know, it was some night scene, but I remember vividly like Kylo Ren stopping, he uses the Force to stop the laser gun, whatever. Yeah, the laser in midair. And I remember the crackle and the suspense, and boy, that was such a cool effect. Or even, his his new
sound. Yeah.
You did that sound.
No kidding.
I was hoping you did that sound. Look at that instinct
right
there.
Hooray.
Can you elaborate on that then?
Here's
I know it's
into me is after about a year, I kind of unload memories about that kind of thing in my brain. It's one of those sounds that we prepped. When you're prepping, when you're editing, before you get to the mix, you prep all these sounds in Pro Tools is the software we use. In Pro Tools, so we have these layers of things. They get mixed in, and you get to the final mix stage, and you've got everybody on stage, picture editors and producers and director, and certain sounds in the moment, for whatever reason, you know what? Let's swap that out for something else. That's not working for whatever reason. Dialogue happens to dialogue, it happens to music, it happens to sound effects. And so you have a thing that you maybe spent a whole day or 2 or 3 days making. You got to make a new thing in about 15 minutes.
Oh, there you go.
And so you're
so no pressure. That's good.
No pressure. And so you kind of you run back to your edit room and you put this together, add this, what if I do this, and run back to stage and you try it. And maybe the second or third one of those are great, that's it. And so that was one of those sounds where it was such a scramble, and probably 4 different versions before we landed on something we liked. I couldn't tell you what
Wow.
what the source was at this point.
I mean, it obviously paid off because I mean, I haven't seen that movie in years, you know, and I've only probably seen that movie like twice. And that it just stuck in my head for whatever reason. Obviously, you know, it's a very impactful scene too. You know, it's a really cool cinematic moment as well.
Yeah.
But that's just so cool. And like, I mean, you know, sounds are so essential to us, to our core as humans, you know, like a sound can bring you back to a specific moment, a specific memory, your childhood. I mean, Jim, you see it all the time, right? Fans coming up and you do a voice and boom, you're back in childhood. Boom, you're back, you know, sitting in front of your TV as a 3-year-old or whatever it is, you know. It's
music.
It's a very powerful thing. Yeah,
music and sound and voices and everything. It's you know, if Fess Parker were here, I would just be singing the Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier, because it's just that voice pops out and you go, boom, you're 5 years old or however old you were. You know, I mean, I do that with Beatles songs all the time and the Temptation songs. Okay, I was a sophomore. I was, you know, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. It was blah, blah, blah. You know, and that's, I think sounds and smells and more so than visuals really are evocative of the past, of beautiful times, you know, and it's, that's a very potent mix. The more of that you can get together, the better.
Absolutely.
We need a smell-o-vision for movies now. Really
Futurama. When the professor makes that smelloscope. I don't know if you guys know the reference I'm talking about, but
and
Professor
what was
Futurama.
The movie Brainwave. Remember that?
With no.
Yeah, and it was where you put on a hat and you were transported just about through all of your senses into the scene. So so you can imagine the applications of the scene. And yes, there was a guy who abused it by getting some pornography, and he was and almost lost his. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, Brainwave, and I want to say Natalie Wood was in it.
That's right. I think it was her last movie.
I think it was too.
Brainstorm.
There,
Chris Walken
right.
and yeah.
Yes,
I need to watch that. I don't think I've seen that since it came out. That's great.
Neither have I.
Do you have an example? I heard you talking on another podcast. I'm stealing this question from them, but it was a good question, so I'm going to ask you for a variation of it. The host had asked you about examples of good sound design or like phenomenal sound design in movies that you'd seen, and you gave the example of 3:10 to Yuma, which is I thought was a great movie, and I didn't even think about the sound in that. But for me personally, I want to know what you think about. Have you ever seen the movie Annihilation with Natalie Portman?
Oh yeah,
I thought that was some great sound design, just really unique and like the creepy alien, and the soundtrack was phenomenal. And what in your opinion is like a really good example of sound design that you just love?
It's a tough one. There's just so many directions you can kind of go with that. I think somebody was asking me a similar question the other day, and you're familiar with the Hitchcock movie, The Birds, right? You know that one. I like that for sound design. That's an interesting one that I kind of think about a lot, is that there's no score in that movie. If that movie doesn't have an actual score, but what it does have is a million birds, and most of those birds are performed with a synthesizer. It was one of the first synthesizer used.
That was an early one.
They had this really weird, one-off synthesizer thing they were doing, and some of those birds are recording. A lot of the bird sounds in that movie are synthesized, not even real birds.
I didn't know that. Wow.
It's sort of a weird hybrid of a score and sound design in the birds, if we really kind of think about it. And I think that's kind of fascinating, and I can't believe nobody's replicated that or tried to do anything like that since. Or maybe they have and I've just missed it. But that's a movie that always kind of fascinates me as sort of like a truly unique sounding movie that I think gets overlooked a lot.
And there was a movie out just within the past 10 years that only had drums as a sound. And what was it? It,
wow.
yeah, gosh. And oh my gosh, I saw a little mini documentary on the guy who was doing it, and he was just a percussionist, and he had broken cymbals, he had broken drums, he had woo woo, whatever those things were, and the whole thing was just drums. And gosh, I can't think of the name of it. Somebody call me up on
let us know in the comments.
Here. Let us know in the comments. Yes, you know the one. And the guy was a great drummer, and he went on to become Reed Richards in one of the Fantastic Four movies.
Oh, really?
And, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Obviously not Pedro
Well, I
Pascal.
like that.
No, it was not he. It was.
I like that stuff. I like people just kind of get outside the box with score, with sounds like that, and just really do something unexpected. That's really what I think people really want to see and hear is the unexpected. I think that's some of the modern success of non-franchise type movies in the theater is I think people are really craving some truly original, things to see and hear and experience, and which I'm all for it. I want that too.
Yeah.
And I guess that sort of extends to everything from, the score to the sound to the visuals to the writing, casting, anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I'm curious. I want to ask you one more question, just on the top of my mind on the subject of sound in movies. A movie like A Quiet Place, with John Krasinski.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, as a sound designer, as anybody in the sound department, is that more pressure or less pressure? Or are you guys committing highway robbery? Okay, this movie's quiet. We're just here, add some footsteps on some leaves and we're good.
Yeah.
Or is it more oh man, everything is really hyper focused,
I think when you have less sound like that, I think I mentioned gravity earlier. When you have minimal sound like that, like in Quiet Place or like in Gravity, or there's a handful of movies that are like that. I think that's a much bigger challenge because especially when you're selling that concept of it being quiet, there's generally not going to be a score in that moment either. So you are relying on these very subtle but sort of poignant or intricate sounds to kind of tell your tale to the audience of why it's like this, and you have to do it in a very quiet, subtle way. That's actually very complicated to do that versus I mean, I've worked on movies with giant space battle or an arena fight with a bunch of monsters are wonderful, amazing things to listen to, and it's just a feast for the ears. But I think probably a little easier than in one way anyway than to having crafting something like A Quiet Place, which you have to be very, very specific about everything. You have to be very articulate about what you're doing and very careful because people are going to hear everything and they're going to pay attention to every little thing that you're doing, and you're selling an idea with your sound more than just being diegetic about it. Yeah.
Would you say in that vein, would you say that's similar to animation? Because I mean, there is no sound going into animation, so you kind of have to do all those things. I would imagine that doing sound for animation is a lot more tedious and or complex of a process than doing it for film and television.
Yeah. It can be, yeah. Animation, like you said, it's a blank slate. You're starting off with nothing. When, as Jim knows, when that's the first thing you do is record the voices. You make that radio play, and then we build the visuals and the sound effects and the score around that. That's the major difference between animation and live action. So yeah, and things like Foley we mentioned earlier become incredibly important with animation because there is no on-set recordings of footsteps or anything. Everything has to be meticulously created. Sounds you're attaching to these characters to really bring them to life or really ground them in whatever space they're in and that kind of thing. And it is a lot. Doing sound for animation is very complicated, and it's a lot of work for sure.
Have you how much of that have you done, or have?
Quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, it's some show. I did 120 episodes of Clone Wars. And,
well, that's true. It's funny because I think of animation and I think of Bugs Bunny or Tigger or something. But Clone Wars, right? Of course.
Yeah, a lot of Star Wars. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
and some Secret Life of Pets 1 and 2, Grinch, a handful of other things.
Well, that's pretty impressive, actually.
The Grinch, like Jim Carrey Grinch?
No. This is the Illumination movie, the animated movie that came out.
Oh, just a couple years ago.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 years ago, something like that. Yeah.
Jeez, has it been that long already? Time's flying.
2020, 2019, something like that. Yeah.
Dang, I feel like that just came out, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well,
time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yes, and you're getting older. You know, there's that one too.
Yeah.
David, what's next? Do you have something that you want to do that you haven't quite gotten to do in your way, or what have you? Is there anything on the horizon?
Yeah. I'm worked on a movie called Behemoth that comes out later this year. And I got an elimination project coming out sometime next year, I think. But what I keep hoping for that somebody's gonna come to me with is a horror movie. I don't get to do enough horror movies. I'm a total horror movie nut. Jaws, Exorcist, those are some of my favorite movies. Like I want to do like a really good Obsession, which came out this year. I thought was a phenomenal horror movie. I want to do something like that. I want to do like a good, like just old school, like creepy. I don't care about the gore or anything like that. I just want a good, scary horror movie to work on. That'd be kind of a fun thing to do, is build things with, tension, use, sound to build tension and that kind of fun stuff. Yeah. It'd be always fun to do.
Well, one more feather in your cap. It's getting crowded.
Or
in
a Western. A Western would be really fun to do.
Yeah.
A Western horror, you say?
Sure.
That actually might not be too very bad, right? You were in something similar.
I was just going to say, I was just in a Western zombie movie.
How about that?
Yeah.
Right on. There you go. Western horror.
Well, that's definitely Western horror.
It was a comedy, though. It was a comedy.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a Western zombie movie with Billy Zane.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting.
You were third corpse on the left, right? Or no?
No, I had a speaking role. Damn it!
That's right.
I was on set for 4 whole days.
There you go. Nice. Should we do a commercial for that? When is it coming out, or do we know? We'll have to wait.
I actually just saw it. I went to a premiere 2 weeks ago. I went to. It was a actor producer who worked with my dad, and he invited me to a premiere of one of his other movies, which was a horror movie, indie horror movie. And one way or another, the commercial was actually for that movie, for the zombie Western. Actually
how cool was that?
before that movie, and I was like, no way. This was unexpected. Cool. Yeah, I was hyped. I went by myself, and I turned to the guy next to me. I was like, I'm in this movie. He looked at me like,
you're like,
okay.
And the guy goes, I'm from California. Of course you are. I'm probably in it too. Yeah.
Well, speaking of horror movies, David, and sound, I feel like I want to know your opinion of this, because I feel like I was not a fan of horror movies for the longest time because I'm a very jumpy person. Like, I'm just a jumpy person. And I feel like a lot of horror movies cheap out with the jump scare. It's just a cheap way to scare somebody. And it's not scary. Like I always say, it's just, it annoys me more than anything, because it's just like, we could be right here and somebody go, oh, and it could make you like, whoa, like, that's just a natural reflex. It's not scary. So I don't really enjoy sitting in a movie for an hour and a half, just constant loud music, bang, bang, bang. I would imagine that that's also, a challenge and a talent in and of itself to know when to go, really loud, or when to have those moments. Is that maybe why you're drawn to that genre?
Oh, I don't know. I think I just like being scared. I think that's I think that's what people like in watching horror movies is it's an emotion that, on our day to day, we don't feel, and it's in us. Fear is in us. And so if you could watch something knowing full well that you're in a safe space, you're in a theater or in your home or whatever, and evoke that emotion that you don't get to tap very often, there's something kind of exciting about that.
Gets the adrenaline going.
It's kind of like roller coasters. It's why we like roller coasters.
Totally.
You're not really in danger, but boy, it feels like it.
Yeah, exactly. You know you're going to be okay, but in the moment, like there's that Neanderthal brain or whatever we have is kind of like, I'm going to die. And you just, and that's everything kind of gets amped up. And no, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. We all have problems.
Like I say, we might be a little crazy. I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
Well, that's fascinating. I feel like I learned some stuff, and sound to me just seems like such a creative process. It seems like it's so much fun.
Yeah.
We all have, that's the thing. This place, I work at Skywalker. Everybody here is kind of just having fun, and we love our job. It's a job, obviously, and you got deadlines, and you got to
make sounds in 15 minutes.
Make sounds and please people, and try and get it right. And when a director or somebody is, says directing a sound to you, I want the sound to sound like this, and the direction might be like, it really has to sound like really cold or really blue. And you're like, that's not, what do you do? And so you'd have to kind of like, what does it look like in the scene? What does that mean? What does that mean to be cold? And you have to kind of like get inside of that sort of world of inside somebody else's head of how they describe things. That's a very complex thing to do. Anyway, kind of going off track here, but yes, we have a lot of fun. I enjoy my job. I don't have any plans to retire anytime soon. As long as my ears hold up, I'm
because why would you?
Job. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Well, people are paying you to do something that you love.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's my old definition for perfect job.
Yep, exactly that.
Yeah.
I feel very lucky. I'm very fortunate to do what I do, and it's not lost on me.
Yeah. Well, Godspeed.
Well, your passion shows. It really does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, many happy returns. And it's funny because this is the part of the podcast where we usually do a voice swap. And we won't be doing that today. Right, Christopher?
Wait, actually, no. Can you actually give us the pre-mixed Grogu? Like what is the voice that you record going
true.
in?
God. Okay.
Now, what it is somebody will do one of their characters and I'll do one of mine, but I'll use their line, like Winnie the Pooh saying something from Darth Vader or what, So that's the crux of it.
It's going to sound ridiculous because my voice is so deep. It's not going to sound like Grogu at all, but it's just the trick to doing Grogu is he's just a weird little baby. It's just a weird little baby that he's 50 in the movie and that he's a 50-year-old baby. So that he's got 50 years of experience, but he still has like sort of the mind of a toddler. But at times it seems like he might be a little bit older, wiser. But some of the thing, it's just making up baby talk sounds, and then making up words that might sound like something but aren't like "Baku" and I don't really have like sometimes I'll just pick up a piece of paper and I'll just start picking up words and make those into like Aska Pukututu Pata Montu Manchovi. And then you take those words and you kind of like chop them up, you pitch them up, you add a little baddie.
You know what? That's actually closer than I thought it was going to be.
Wow.
That was closer to the sound that I thought it was going to be.
That was pretty good. I better watch my back.
Oh,
that was surprising. I was thinking, wow, how's he doing that? Oh, he's just doing it, stupid. Yeah. Oh my God. Fantastic.
Well, that was great. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just want to thank you again for being here, David Acord. That was really fascinating. I like it when we do these episodes with people that are, not necessarily voice actors, kind of broadening the horizon of the entertainment industry. Cause there's just so many, I've been around this industry my entire life and I have no idea. Like I see these credits. My dad used to make me sit through all of the credits and everything we watched. And I didn't really like it at first, but I do it to this day because to me that's showing respect and appreciation for everybody that worked on, a work of art. That's That's what it is at the end of the day, you know, be it cartoons, be it television, movies, it's all making art, you know, and all these people were required to make it. So that's just really cool. And I learned some stuff today, which I knew I was going to. But I just want to thank you again. Thank you, Jim, as always. And thank you guys all for watching. We really appreciate you. This podcast couldn't happen without you. It just really couldn't. You guys are the grease that's keeping the wheel oiled. You know, and I don't say that sarcastically.
Please. Stay greasy.
I really don't.
Stay greasy.
Be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. You know, it really helps us. Tells us what you like. It helps you, you know, curates your little playlist. And I do it all the time. I subscribe to everybody that I'm interested in and want to see more of, because you never know. Sometimes you can click on a video and you'll never see it again. And if you want to see this content, you like it so much that you want to see more, we're on Patreon as well. And we just started memberships on YouTube, which is like the YouTube version of Patreon. So if you're in either of those two memberships, then you can see exclusive stuff that nobody else gets to see. We don't air anywhere else. Extended interviews, contests, giveaways. We're coming out with a lot more stuff for all that, so stay tuned on that. And with all that said and done, once again, David, thank you so much for being here. I'm producer Chris, the legend himself, Mr. Jim Cummings. We will see you guys in the next one.
Thank you.